Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to National Graduate Week, brought to you by CareerMap Media Group. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Heather. I'm from CareerMap. And in the penultimate session of today, I'm joined by the team at Vodafone. So the team will be talking about life as a graduate of Vodafone, the opportunities that are available to you, how to apply and onboarding, kind of everything in between as well. So before I hand over to the team, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Some of you may be aware of this already. When you've joined our other sessions, we have a chat box that sits at the right-hand side of your screen. Please ask any questions within that box as we go along, and we will do like a Q&A to the panel towards the end of the session. Don't worry about missing out on any information. The session is being recorded. It will be sent to you. Along with any kind of corresponding links and resources that we kind of allude to today in today's session. So that's it for me for now. If I can hand over to the team, and I will see you for the Q&A.
So hi, I'm Ellie. I am the Future Talent Programme Manager for the Vodafone Graduate Scheme here in Vodafone UK. So I'll pass on to the rest of the members here joining me to introduce themselves.
Yeah, hi, my name's Camilla. I work in Ellie's team, so I'm one of the HR graduates who started this year, and I'm assisting her with all things grad related, but equally apprentice and work experience.
I'm Bea, and I've just started on the business grad scheme literally in September, and I'm working within the health vertical, which is really interesting.
Hi, I'm Jack. I am a first year tech graduate, specifically working in the big data and analytics stream, working in a data analytics team that support a delivery function as part of the business.
And hello, I'm Michael Durham. I'm a 24-year veteran of Vodafone, so I've been here a while. I work in the Vodafone business area in the managed enterprise services, which is the field services engineering teams.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. So before we let you quiz us, we just want to go into a bit of information about who we are. So you might know Vodafone as a telco, but we are so much more than this now. We are transferring into a tech co. So we are a technology company. We are Europe's largest next generation network provider, managing over 20 different operating countries and over 40 partner markets with 168 countries which have our 4G roaming. So we have a vast amount of customers and a vast scale which we work over. So just go on to the next slide. Perfect. So everything we do is underpinned by the spirit of Vodafone. I think we might have... so this is everything that we do, and it underpins everything that we do here. So we earn customer loyalty. So customers are at the heart of everything that we do here at Vodafone. So customer centricity is key, and we create the future. So we are looking at new and innovative ways to do things and different products and services which we can promote. We're experimenting and learn fast, so we're not afraid to make mistakes and look at new ways to do things. So it's always great to have a fresh pair of eyes, such as why graduates are a massive help to the business here at Vodafone, and we get it done together. So we're here to support each other and work really closely across all different functions and stakeholders around the business. Perfect. So just to go into a little bit about the purpose of Vodafone here. So together we are making a difference, but how are we actually doing this within Vodafone? So we work on a digital society, which is one of our key pillars. So we believe in the power of connectivity, digital services to strengthen the resilience of economies all over the globe. We connect nearly 1 in 16 people worldwide. We're all about bringing people and things together. Our network covers more than 99% of the UK, and we're connecting over 18 million mobile and fixed line customers. Another pillar of ours is inclusion for all. So we are tackling digital exclusion and making sure no one is left behind. As we have just mentioned before, we are Europe's largest next generation network provider. So we've pledged to connect 1 million people by the end of 2022, which is exceeded. And we have a different piece where we can do buy one, give one with the Trussell Trust. So we partner with lots of different charities and support the Great British Tech Appeal with Barnardo's UK. We have the Vodafone Foundation, which invests over 50 million per year in global initiatives. So we partner with a variety of different charities to support them here as well. And last but not least, our third and another pillar is planet. So we are working on eliminating our CO2 emissions and electronic waste, but we are also helping our customers to do this as well. So not just ourselves. And we're looking to power our entire business on 100% renewable energy and electricity. And we're committed to reducing our total global carbon emissions to a net zero by 2040. So everything that we do here, as mentioned before, is underpinned by the spirit of Vodafone, and we have so many different initiatives internally. So we are massive on diversity and inclusion here at Vodafone. So you are all treated equally, and we're massively inclusive. So we have a variety of internal networks which you can get involved with as well. Everything from our LGBT plus network and Count Me In to support businesses, making sure we globally reflect our customers that we serve and the broader societies. We also equip everybody with the tools and techniques to feel empowered and to call out inappropriate behavior at work. So everybody is equal, and we really empower you to promote inclusivity. So we aim to be the world's best employer for women by 2025 as well, which is an amazing initiative. I'm really looking forward to increasing our females in tech and looking at the Vodability Inclusion Network. So no matter anything that you have or anything that you might do, we are all equal here, and we have a raise awareness about disabilities and long-term health conditions to make sure that everybody is promoted and supported. And there's so many different pieces which we can do. We have an extensive learning platform here at Vodafone, and our offering is to support with dedicated resources available to help educate yourself and become a massive ally. Alongside all of our diversity and inclusion pieces, we have a massive well-being here at Vodafone, which we massively support. So we have everything from mindfulness to support you with on-demand mindful sessions to help you focus in your day-to-day work, remote GP 24/7 access to online digital appointments. Our well-being network alongside this is the workplace, which is our global internal Facebook pages where employees can connect, share advice and information to support each other, with access to external support through Mind, NHS, the NHS Nude Assessments, and IAM1in4.com resources and news, which we also have access to. We have employee assistance programs to access our dedicated service providing, free, professional and confidential counselling. We also have a system called Nudge, which creates a healthy money mindset, and this tool supports your financial well-being alongside mental health to see your local mental health first aiders and their local contact details as well. So that's a little bit about what we do internally and our spirit and our culture. So just to move on to a bit about our Discover programs. So our programs which we have at the moment are our Discover programs, which is our graduate scheme here, which ranges from 2 to 3 years for finance, and then an industrial placement, which is our 12-month internship program. So we're here to talk to you mainly today about the graduate scheme. So just a bit about the program overviews. So this is made up of a series of rotational placements in your area of specialism. So we're made up a combination of, for HR, it is 2 6-month placements and a 12-month placement. And the majority of them are 2 one-year placements. So you get the breadth and depth across the business area you are supporting and working within. We have a vast amount of development opportunities to support you beyond your role to improve skills, behaviours and support the spirit of Vodafone to prepare you to succeed beyond the programme in your life here at Vodafone. We have a variety of skill sessions which can cover anything from growth mindset, skills and career networks and inclusion for all. We support you with your performance, so goals are set and reviewed quarterly and as well as mid and end of placement to make sure that you are getting the most and succeeding in your role. We also have many different pieces which will support you there as well. And then we also have a variety of youth and social to keep you connected. So we have the youth committee, which can also support you with different socials, such as the summer social, the Christmas ball, which will be happening, and the summer ball as well. So a variety of different pieces that are going on internally alongside this. So we set you up with lots of different benefits to becoming a graduate here at Vodafone. So we equip you with all the technology you'll need to succeed and support your day-to-day role and activities. So you'll get your phone and your laptop. You also get additional charity leave on top of the 28 days annual leave, which you will get. So we offer 3 additional charity leaves to take with yourself or your team to give back to the community. We have a starting salary of £32,000 to £35,000 and a £1,000 introductory bonus as well when you join us here. And we have a structured L&D programs and qualifications to support you with your development and success. And we also offer flexible hybrid working here. So the majority of us are hybrid workers now, where we do a 60-40 split with the office, being in the office majority of 2 days a week now. So a bit on the Vodafone application process. So stage 1 is the eligibility test. So you will either upload a CV and answer a few questions. So all we ask for is a minimum of a 2-2, whether you have already gained this or you are on track to gain a 2-2 or above, and to have graduated a maximum of 2 years prior. So if you are in your final year or penultimate year of university, don't worry, you are well and truly successful here. So then you have the second stage is once you've passed the eligibility test is the online assessment. So you will have the psychometric tests and a video interview where a question will pop up and you will have to record yourself answering these. It's not the most comfortable thing to do sometimes, but it is really streamlined and you get a practice question as well to be able to do this. So just relax and make sure that you are comfortable in the situation you're going for. And then stage 3 is the assessment. So we are usually doing an in-person or a virtual assessment centre. So you will come in and you will talk to a few of our employees who will be in the area that you are going for. It would consist of either a potential focused interview, so a standard interview process, a group task or an individual task, and a more gamification task as well. And then the stage 4 would be offer and feedback. So hopefully we will be offering a few of you here today. And then following this, we'll be keeping connected with lots of different contacts on what the day in the life of your stream will be, meeting your business point of contacts, and then the summer social as well, up until you join us in September 2024. Perfect. So that is a bit of a whistle-stop tour about Vodafone and who we are and what we have internally as a culture. So I've got obviously everybody here with us today, so we're going to open up the panel for any questions that you might have.
Absolutely. So I'll take this. Thank you to everybody for pinging me. Right, I'll just kick off because we've got quite a lot to go through. Joel says, what are the business streams and do grads get to pick what part of the business that they work in?
So we have a variety of different programs and streams that are available, everything from technology, which includes networks, software engineering, and we also have a new scheme this year, which is government security, which is a really exciting one. We also have business, which includes propositions, marketing, customer focus, which B is on the business ones, which will give you a bit more insight into. We also have finance, HR, commercial and marketing, customer and commercial analytics, a vast variety, but they are all on our website at vodafonecareers.co.uk. So do have a look on there and have a look into all of us. But I don't know if B, you want to give a bit more information into what you do on the day-to-day in the business stream so far.
Yeah, definitely. So I applied to the business one and I'd previously worked for 3 months. I took a year out, so I graduated the year before at marketing agency. So I knew there were parts of that I really liked, but not necessarily wanting to go directly into marketing, which is where I think business was really good because it's quite broad. In your first year rotation, you don't really get a choice, but it's obviously only a year and there's always like so much to be learned, even from just like being in a big company. I've been really lucky. I've been put in the health team, which I'm finding really, really interesting. And it's more in terms of like business development and propositions, which is something that's completely new to me. And it's really, really exciting. But I think it's completely varied. I know people in like all different areas of the business, including like product ownership and things like that. So yeah, it can really depend, but it's definitely really interesting. It's a good one to go for. Not that I'm biased.
Yeah, not that you're biased at all. Thank you very much. Has anyone else got anything to add on that one? No, that's great. Idris asked, do you get to move around different departments when you're on scheme to be able to experience every aspect of the business? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can't hear Camilla though. I think she's trying to
Oh,
talk.
Camilla,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. So when you apply to our graduate roles, you apply to a specific department. So Ellie said we've got roles in tech, business, HR, finance, government security, and then within that department, you will rotate amongst the different teams. So unfortunately, you can't rotate across departments. So you can't go from business to tech, but within, so say you were to go into HR, which is my stream, within HR, I will join 3 different teams across my 2-year program, which obviously your second and third, you get an influence in choosing. But unfortunately, the department you apply to is the one you stay within for the program.
Right. Okay. Understood. Thank you very much. Another Ellie actually asked, what initiatives are you practicing to work towards carbon/net zero?
So we're working on increasing our renewable energy sources. So we're using carbon neutral electricity. We have also made minor details in the SIMs. When you get those, the plastic that comes around the SIM has been massively decreased to half the plastic usage which we're using, and loads of different initiatives like that. We have keep cups which we are given to stop using plastic waste. Lots of different things that are going on internally, so I could talk for it for hours.
Yeah, no, I think that's just a session in itself, isn't it, to be honest with you. Question from Ollie, and I think I've just seen another question come through as well on the public chat. As a software engineering grad, how does AI currently play a part in the business? I'm
going to leave this one for the tech guys here, if they know anything on software engineering.
So from my experience, in terms of using AI as part of your day-to-day job, there is scope, especially, well, in my job that I've been doing, to use some exploratory like machine learning techniques in the data analysis I've been doing. If you're referring to more like the new generative AI or that's coming out, like the large language model, I think, you know, people in their day-to-day do use can use like ChatGPT as long as it's not with company sensitive data. And I believe there is a pilot scheme going on with Microsoft's Copilot software at the moment to look into the future of how we can use those sort of capabilities to enhance our software engineering in particular. And that's as far as I know. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Anything else to add on that one? Anybody? Okay, that's absolutely fine. We've got plenty to be going through. Right then, Karim says, does a placement student get automatically through to be accepted onto the graduate programme?
So if you were to join our placement programme and you'd wish to continue with us, once you've graduated university, unfortunately you don't get automatically offered a job, but we will fast track you through to our assessment centre. So you skip the first 2 initial phases and you can attend one of our in-person or virtual assessment centres from there. I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
I was just going to say Jack's a good example of that. He did a placement.
Right. Okay, perfect. So yes, here we go. Ta-da, we've got a Jack. Wonderful. Right then, just let's have a look what else we've got here. Chloe says, sorry if you've covered this, but where do you help with relocation if necessary?
So we don't at this moment in time offer support with relocation. That is usually only for our extremely senior roles, but no.
Okay, no, that's great.
Sure.
Johnny, we did touch on this actually, but if we can just do a recap, can you just reconfirm what the salary is, please?
So it's a starting salary of 32 to 35 grand, depending on which stream or area you go into.
Lovely. And questions for B and Jack here. Do you think that there's a good work-life balance, or how would you describe, your day-to-day roles, I guess, in terms of work and personal?
Yeah, I mean, I can take this firstly. I mean, I think it's really, really good. The working hours here are really good, and one highlight being that you finish at 4 o'clock on a Friday across the business, which is great because your weekend starts early. And then in terms of socializing within work, there's across both Vodafone UK and Vodafone Group, there's 140 grads, I think, this year. And I think that's a pretty consistent number as far as I'm aware, or, fluctuates around there. So there's a big 3-day induction week for the graduate program, which happens as you start. You get to meet everyone. There are tons of societies. There is like a social committee. There's also stuff like I'm getting involved with this Vodafone coding club, which has allowed me to meet other people as well, other people from the youth community. So lots of opportunities to network with other members of the youth, and the office is as a hot desking space. Some days I'll be in with my team and sit with my team, which is really good, but also there'll be days where I'm sat with other graduates that I'm friends with, and in that sense it's a really nice social environment.
Brilliant, thank you. B?
I was just going to add to that. I think the induction is really, really good, and we're very fortunate to have that. I think speaking to a couple of the other COVID years where they didn't get to meet everyone in the first few days, that's obviously really hard. But yeah, 3 days in Newbury with all of the grads is definitely a really good way to kickstart the networking and meeting people. But also definitely with my team, and I think it is really reflective of the whole company, is they're very much they understand that you're a grad and that there's other things that you sometimes might need to prioritize. And that's not to say you always put grad things ahead of the work that you need to do for the team, but for example, we've had grad mornings organized by the youth committee, and that's absolutely fine. It's not something that you need to block out time for. They know that you're going to be uncontactable in those periods of time. And I know definitely on the business stream there's something called Grad Challenge, which is you're given a business problem that could actually be something that Vodafone's facing, and you've got, I think, across the space of a year or 10 months to basically work with your team to come up with a solution. Then you end up presenting that in Newbury to a massive audience. So I think things like that, where it's fun but it's still quite business related, is Vodafone's really good at as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely a really good balance, and you definitely get out what you put in, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of key message throughout so many of these sessions this week, is you kind of do get back what you put in. So thank you for that. And just still sticking with this, you mentioned kind of interactions before you kind of got into program. Vicky did ask on the chat, are there social events at Vodafone for you to interact with other departments? Is there anything like that goes on for the new cohorts?
Yeah, definitely. So I think even before we started, I was actually away, but there's a summer social that's put on at Newbury. So I think it's in July, which is a really good time. So a lot of people at the induction were seeing familiar faces already. And then, I think there's a real range of social events which the youth committee put a real effort into, in terms of it not all necessarily just being going to the pub after work. They've done escape rooms. I know Jack's part of a five-a-side football team, and they've got a tournament later with lots of other five-a-side teams. So yeah, there's loads of occasions, and I think whatever you're into, as Jack said, there's coding club. There's a real range. So it's not just if you don't drink that you can't get involved. I would say definitely.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a really wide range of stuff that you can all get involved in. Okay then, so Tanya's asked, it's a question for you, I think, Ellie. Please, can you elaborate on the selection and assessment process? Tanya has also asked, so there's two parts to the question. Do you have any specific examples of the tasks candidates would have to undertake?
Yes, so I'm going to ask you to repeat the first part of that question in a second, but I'll go on to the tasks which you can get into. So last year, which, to be honest, Camilla and B and Jack are probably going to be best at answering this because they were doing the tasks in the assessment centres. But we had a podcast sort of interview process where you had an hour which you went away and you did a bit of preparation to come up with an innovative idea on one of our 3 purpose pillars, which I spoke about earlier. So digital inclusion for all, digital society and planet. And you came back and presented that in a podcast sort of format. So a bit more of a gamification sort of task with a one-on-one interview style in a podcast format, where you were then taking notes and just basically giving back your answers on what your brilliant idea would have been, how you would have implemented it, and so on. And then you've also got the interview, so a standard one-on-one interview just to ask you where you've been, what you've been doing, and why you want to work at Vodafone, that sort of questions. And then there's a business focused task as well, which is usually a a business focused task where you go away and you'd map out a different area and where you could put the products into and present it back as a group. So that's more of a group focused task. But obviously the guys here can explain a little bit more about their first-hand experience on that as well.
Yeah, I don't mind running through what my assessment centre looked like. So on the day, we were split into 2 groups because there was a fair few of us, and you kind of alternated the tasks at different points. So as example, for the podcast focused assessment, I chose a charity to give back to the community, and you, as Ellie said, you give about 50 minutes to an hour to prepare. You can do research. A good tip to note if you are looking to apply is that you can take notes into these assessments. So that hour that you've spent researching your initiative, you can obviously take notes in with you and make the most of it, if I'm honest.
Top tip there,
top tip,
yeah.
exactly. From there, so yeah, you'd then meet your assessor. They'd try and welcome you in a relaxed way so you feel comfortable. To be honest, once I met my assessor and you get chatting as you're walking to wherever you sat down and things, they were all really friendly, made you feel quite comfortable. You run through your idea. They will ask you questions in a podcast setup, so it flows naturally, and then you close it up. And then so then the second one, we had a potential focused interview. So they're just asking questions about your experience, whether that's through a job or through university. You don't obviously have to have had a job to apply beforehand, so they understand that not everyone would have had that type of experience, but they just ask you questions on your experience basically as a whole, and how you tackle problems or teamwork, and so just your general standard interview questions, if I'm honest. And then the group task is most likely a problem-solving task where you work with your group, where you come up with an initiative to present to a panel of assessors.
Okay.
But yeah,
Brilliant.
so I don't remember the first part of your question either, but I'm happy to answer it if that helps.
It was, well, you've done it anyway. Can you elaborate on the assessment process, which is basically it? So thank you for that. Layla's asked a very interesting question. Layla said, what is your opinion on using ChatGPT to support the application process? With many businesses adopting it, will it not highlight our skills to work smarter, not harder?
In my opinion, we're looking for people's people's personalities. Apps are not at people's personalities. So if you're going to use ChatGPT, in my personal opinion, and be interested to see what other people say, you're not showing your true self. We're looking to learn about you and what your interests are, especially for the initial application phase and the online assessments. Using ChatGPT, to be honest with you, won't be very helpful. I mean, yes, do research into Vodafone, and if for whatever reason that AI function will help you find out a bit more about who we are, but ultimately a lot of the questions you'll be asked are about who you are as a person. I mean, anyone else, feel free to share what you think, but that's...
Yeah. I would second that. I would also flag that if you are if you do get through to our in-person assessment centre, obviously ChatGPT might help you with your getting through to this stage, but make sure to be yourself, because you will be ultimately tested in person as well. So you won't actually have access to ChatGPT when you're sat there one-on-one with an assessor. So don't catch yourself out in that respect as well.
Yeah, that's been a theme of a lot of sessions actually, that it's like it's getting found out is the absolute wrong way to put it, but like, be yourself, because it will unravel it over the time anyway. So absolutely. I think it would be really helpful for us to touch on the networks aspect of Vodafone, and if Michael, you could tell us a little bit about what does what kind of projects that you work on, and maybe what a day in the life of working within networks could look like. That could be really helpful.
Sure. Yes. As I say, I work in the Vodafone business side of things, manage enterprise services. So the enterprise network is what backs up the entire back end of Vodafone, BT, etc., we sell our services to other companies such as BT, EE, Orange, etc. Everything. We underpin that core network. So the basic stuff is down to fiber cables in the roads, in the rail sides, overhead wires, etc. We even run fiber cables under the sea into Europe and across to the US, etc., around to India. There is a mass of fiber networking. That is then also underpinned by what we call radio networks. So we have microwave networks and things that can go point to point, visual line of sight. It has to be visual line of sight, that kind of thing. And then obviously the mobile network backs everything up through the GSM platform as well, or is even the Prime now. The 5G network is impressively fast and getting faster every day. New frequencies brought online, things like that. The sector that I work in is, because we work in managed enterprise, we work with the big customers, etc. So we provide end-to-end of everything, all their networks, their applications, very small applications, things like that. So we're talking services like IoT, which you may have heard of, the Internet of Things, where we're connecting devices to devices and devices to control rooms, things like that, to be able to visualize what's happening in the world, in their network, also to control it through SCADA systems, things like that, so you can turn things on and off. Simple things like Tesco, for instance, have a bin out in the back car park that it tells people when it's getting a bit full. And it does that over the mobile network. It also backs that up by using wireless technology like you have at home. So we install and provide wireless networks for customers. We provide mobile private networks. So if you in a building want to have a more secure mobile network to talk to each other, that's what we provide. We provide antennas within the building, pico cells, things like that, to provide that private secure network, and all your devices will then communicate and be encrypted as well, so nobody else can see that data. So we provide a lot of that. We provide cloud communications or cloud networking. So when you're working from home, you would have obviously data. You need data, internet. You need to be able to get to things. You need to get to the files that you want to work on. There's the chat, like we're doing here as well, alongside. You've got text chat. You've got Teams, you've got social media involved, and we're communicating. So my expertise is in the voice side of things. I work in the unified communications element. So we have sort of many sectors of unified communications. We have the normal just calling each other. We have contact centers. We have control rooms. We have command and control rooms that we look after as well. So these are like the emergency centers, things like that, that deal with a lot of moving of people around the UK or managing incidents, things like that. So that's what we do, both on voice and data. You know, we have to be able to monitor what's going on. CCTV, we provide the backbone for the CCTV platform. Again, there was a legacy product called the Broccoli Cam, which was an interesting analogy, was where the store manager could monitor the store, etc., and identify that somewhere was a bit low on stock and get things in. So it's simple things like that. You know, various things manage everything else in a different way. We have software-defined networking, which is for the software writers of this world, that is a great product. So software-defined network is, you've got all this technology out there just sat there doing things that it's been told to do, but software defined makes it controllable from a central point. You could deploy a new office, somebody goes and plugs this in the new box in, but then centralized, somebody's managing that box. So it's all software defined. One core tells it how to work. We have, as I say, we have Teams. We do a lot of Teams integration from voice into data, various server management. We have our own security teams for firewalls, that kind of thing. Antivirus protection, intrusion detection systems. We work on all of those in the enterprise area. We have air-gapped networks because we work on a lot of government contracts that have to have a platform. So It's not connected to the internet in any way. It's not even a private network that allows you to get to places securely, your data securely. This is air-gapped, it never leaves the premises. It's a purely isolated network. We do a lot of those, and we have to manage those in a very secure way. We have to manage, when we start bringing those air gap systems, if we do want to communicate with another air gap system or something like that, we have things called DMZs, demilitarized zones, as we call them, where we have to agree what's going between here and there, and we use firewall access to do all of that kind of thing at an IP level. So okay. There's many other areas I can go into, but I shall leave it to ask if anybody has any questions for me.
Well, there's so many questions, and they're kind of going through loads of different topics, to be perfectly honest with you. But Leroy has asked a question around networks. He says, how much network does Vodafone own? Are there any towns that you do not provide Wi-Fi/data to? Data to. Are you strategizing to do this?
No, we provide to every city and town. Vodafone, we have a reach. It's not just the UK. We have a massive fibre European network, etc., and we have a lot in the US as well that is owned by us. At one time, we used to own the entire Caribbean network for mobile and fibre, etc. Before the regulatory authorities made us open it up to competition because of competition law, etc.
Yeah.
So, we have one of the vastest under the ground networks.
Brilliant. Okay, that's a wonderful answer. Thank you very much. Going to do a complete flip now. Johnny has asked, I hear that you do charity leave. Does Vodafone decide on the charities, or can I?
With this, it's either or, really. It depends. If you're part of a team and they want to organise a charity day together, then obviously you can take part in that. But equally, if you have a charity you want to work for, and Ellie, correct me if I'm wrong, you can organise it yourself and do so yourself.
Yeah, so there aren't. We have a few registered charities that we work alongside, but you can do this with any charity as well. So at any point in the year. So, for example, we have a lot of our wider team is based in Stoke-on-Trent. So we have a few that go and will do. One year they went to a cattery, which one of our team leaders doesn't like, is scared of cats. So that wasn't really her up her street, but she still went and gave it her best. So they did some painting. I took part in one in an elderly home in Paddington, where we went and did a bit of gardening in the freezing cold, and it was the year which it was really icy outside. And then they had tea and cake and just had a bit of a social side with the residents there as well. So there's a vast amount that you can do. Whatever you want to do to give back to the community, we are here to support you as well.
Wonderful, thank you. And you've mentioned a couple of locations throughout conversations, and Tommy actually says, can you confirm or let us know where the roles are based?
Yep, so the majority of our roles are based in our headquarters in London, Speechmark and Newbury.
Right, okay, perfect. Going back to Johnny, we've been talking about networking, he says, in response to you, Michael, wow, I didn't know that you were in the US, any other countries? And also, can grads potentially move abroad after the scheme?
The company is a global company. We have networks absolutely everywhere. If we don't have local European small town reaches, we will get there regardless. We have major pops around the globe, etc. But points of presence, should I say, for a pop. So we can get to any country, any service, any building to provide services.
Brilliant, thank you. We've got about 20 questions and, funnily enough, 20 minutes. And they are kind of all over the place, and I haven't got enough brain cells to be able to cluster them. So it might feel like it's a little frantic, but I'm just going to go with it. Abdul says, do you get to meet the assessors in advance before the assessment centre?
No, you don't, to be simple.
Yeah, that's fine. Vicky's asked, can somebody give some insight into the environment at Vodafone? Is it a creative place to work?
Well, we are encouraged, obviously, to learn fast is one of the things that I live by. Learn fast and don't be afraid to experiment as well. You know, we get that all the time. My role in particular is doing that on a daily basis. I'm educating myself on a daily basis. We have our Grow and Learn platform where all of our university courses are on, where you can any topic you want to look at, you can go into, and there's a career path for each of those. Where I sit now, we also have a thing called a technical career path where we can progress and learn and be aspired to grow to the next level up, etc. It doesn't mean you have to leave the job I'm doing now. You can grow yourself within that and actually be rewarded for doing so.
Thank you, Michael. Sorry, I think that we both cut out on each other then. I think I might have interrupted you. I do apologise. I was asking a question. I was just about to go to a question from Vicky. And Vicky asked, how long have the senior staff been at Vodafone, as in the you guys on this call? And what's been your biggest challenge? She also says, very interested in joining. Thank you.
I think I'm probably the longest serving.
If we add everybody else up, it might be the same.
Yeah. So I joined back in 1999. So I was 28 when I came into the business, and I've always been in a senior technical position throughout my career. So it's always been a good progression through the business, etc. I came to Vodafone from British Telecom, and before that was Siemens. So they're very large companies, etc. Even British Rail was where I left school to go into an apprenticeship. That's how I came through the business. But Vodafone have treated me well, really well throughout the time I've been here. I do get rewarded annually, as many people do. For their efforts, and yes, it's a great place to work. So yes, I don't have any plans to leave.
Thank you. Katie asked, how long does the application process take? So from applying, when can we expect to hear back and then receive the offer?
Yeah, so I'll take this one. So applications are open at this moment in time. If you go onto our career site, they will close early if they are oversubscribed, because we don't want to give anybody false hope, but they are technically open until the 30th of November at this moment in time. So if you want to apply, recommend applying ASAP, so as soon as possible. We will then be running our assessment centres December, January time. So you can expect to have an offer or a complete answer when assessment centres are finished at the end of January, and then to join us in September. But you should have your answers on whether you get through to the assessment centres or so on a week or so after completing your tasks.
Okay, that's fast. Brilliant. Okay, great. There's a couple of questions around post like finishing the program, basically. Layla says, after you complete the program, what salary will you be on? And Abdul asks, what are the progression routes like after the grad scheme?
So salary for the graduates is managed centrally because you're in a bit of a bubble. So we have you at a slightly higher rate, so you are protected and rewarded for the work that you were doing. When you offboard the scheme into a permanent role, it completely varies. So I can't give you a specific salary because it depends on the role you go into, the level of the role, and the area of the business you would go into. It's also reviewed every year by Reward to make sure that it is consistent and competitive with the external market, and to make sure that it is consistent across the whole business and fair for everybody.
Brill. Thanks, Ali. Hi team, can you say how many roles are available each year per stream and which ones are the most competitive?
Oh, okay. So this also completely varies with demand within the business and the vacancies that we have available, because we look at a 2-year process. So we look forward 2 years to make sure that there are roles and hopefully positions available for you offboarding the scheme as well, so we can keep you in the long run. That's the whole point of you joining the business, is for us to upskill you to be the future leaders of Vodafone. So at this moment in time, there are our biggest schemes are software engineering and business. They are probably our two largest. The most competitive at the moment have been digital and HR, which is why they are oversubscribed at this moment in time. But yes, they're all very competitive, but we have roughly around 85 roles available.
Okay, wonderful. And Harry, you've asked a question around software engineering. That will be the answer to your question. Yes, there are roles. Right then, Hannah says, do you recruit grads every year? I'm currently in my second year of uni, so possibly 2025, I'll be looking to apply to a scheme. Also, do you offer taster days or WorkX, so we can get a feel for the business before making an application?
So yes, we do hire every year at this moment in time for graduate schemes. So this time next year, we went live on the 18th of September this year for graduate schemes. So keep an eye out from the beginning of September for applications for the 2025 scheme. I'm going to hand over to Camilla for work experience.
Yeah, so aside from the graduate program and the placement, the 1-year placement, we do run work experience, which is virtual. So it's a 2-week program, which we aim to run, and I know it doesn't coincide with university holidays always, but we've just run one in the October half term. I believe we're going to be running one in the Feb half term, and most likely in the summer. Essentially a 1 week of attending virtual webinars where you'll hear from a panel of different employees from Vodafone. So I believe there's one in marketing and sales. There's a panel on employability, so they give you some tips on your CV. There's a panel on Internet of Things and technology, and there is one more that I can't think of at the moment, but there is 4 that basically looks at different functions of the business. So that's 1 week, and then alongside those webinars, you'll be asked to complete a project where you'll come up with, I believe, an idea, a technological idea slash innovation, and put together a bit of like a storyboard type setup. So yeah, that's a 2-week program that's run through SpringPod. So our information is on our careers website, but you can also find information on the SpringPod website too.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Charlotte's just linked in. It's off the back of the conversation we were having about locations. She says she's interested in marketing. She kind of heard us say that the majority of roles are in London and Newbury, but on the website she can see Stoke. Is that correct?
Yes, so the commercial and marketing stream is based in Stoke-on-Trent for the first year. And then we'll be moving to London for the second year.
Brilliant. Thank you. Right then, Johnny's got a good question. What kind of key skills do you look for in a graduate?
To be honest, I mean, B and Jack, feel free to jump into, but my keys, the ones I would say would be curiosity. You have to have a bit of initiative to kickstart and run some of your own tasks and things, but curiosity and the passion to grow your career and work hard to do so, in my opinion, but feel free to add on top.
I was just going to say, you don't feel like you have to go straight from school to uni to then straight into a grad scheme. Like a lot of people I've spoken to on the grad scheme as well, which I think was really refreshing, is like, even if they've not done a year out or they've not done placement yet, a lot of people have done really interesting things like outside of work experience as well, which I think was quite refreshing. Like, it's not like, so I am slightly older. I did a year out before uni and after, and I have not met that many 21-year-olds like within my immediate graduate group, through people doing different years, like living abroad with uni or like things like that. So I think, don't feel like you necessarily have to just go down like the straight and narrow. I think it makes you really interesting as a person. You've got a lot more to talk about in interviews and assessment centres and things as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, B. Right then, this is an interesting question. Charlotte says, how does the graduate scheme differ in terms of responsibilities in comparison to what she says is getting a job with Vodafone? I'm guessing what we mean there is still within maybe HR or software, but not a graduate position.
So joining on the graduate scheme here at Vodafone, you are treated as a standard employee. You aren't treated as a graduate. So we advise not to give gradmin as such, as you might get in some places. You are given projects to own and run, but you are also given the support network and the cohort and connection feel to support you in your development into your career. You also get the rotational aspect to test out different areas of the business with the graduate scheme. So instead of going into a permanent role, you get the opportunity, if you're not sure where in the business you want to go to, you can explore and get a bit of breadth and depth across the business instead of just channeling yourself into one specific role. That's the opportunity with the graduate scheme. So technically, it is very similar to coming into the business on a permanent role. You just get the opportunity to test out a couple more areas and get involved in a few different more projects.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Michael, this refers back to your comment where you were talking about, failure and learning and, learning.
Leila's question.
Leila's question, yes.
Yeah,
Do you believe you should fail quickly and then at least you
absolutely. Part of my job is to actually force fail things, because I do product testing as well. So I have to find a way to do it wrong on purpose, because I have to test things multiple times to get it right. So when you're going through a test process, you'll have to record your findings and things of what went wrong, and then look to put what went right. And also to take that into the final stage, if you then implement that into a production platform and get it wrong, it's fine. You have to be open and honest about this to our internal customers and our end customers about it. They actually appreciate the open and honesty of you identifying what went wrong, how to resolve it next time you try it. So the more information that you have learned from that experience to then propose it for the second attempt or third attempt or whatever, or even you propose to take it offline and work on it, etc., a bit more to do that, it's fine. The customers are fine as long as you have an answer to what went wrong, etc., what could be done better next time. So I've done that myself. I've implemented things. It's not gone to plan, but the customers respected me for being open and honest with them. Of yes, we saw that it shouldn't have happened, but it did. Therefore, we'll take it offline and look at it. Or I know that this was wrong, and then go back with them with a report, and everything's fine. It's never affected my career or my career progression of doing that.
I think there's a lot to be said for failure, because if you can't continue to just do things correct every time, you don't actually learn as much as you could do doing it wrong. So thank you. And a couple of quick fire questions, and then I am going to turn to the grads just to kind of round up the session and speak about your experiences and motivations. But before I do that, Charlotte has asked, at uni, Turnitin can see if we've used ChatGPT. Do you screen for this? And if not, do you think you will? Not that I'm planning on using it, I'm just interested. Caveat there.
Yeah, well, what's your application? So we have an external partner that manages our applications, and AI is used to screen all of these as well. So,
oh, right, okay.
Just to flag that.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think we could do a whole session on this, actually. Abdul's asked, do you have any tips for nerves? It's such a common question and it affects everybody. And I think that there's probably so many ways that you can, kind of deflect the nerves. But from your opinions, what are your tips?
I think for me is just take deep breaths, speak slowly. If you rush through what you're trying to say, whether it's on the online assessments or at your assessment centre itself, you're most likely going to stumble over your words, and obviously that can make you feel more panicked. So yeah, my tip for nerves would be to take deep breaths, ask for a slight pause if you need one, try and speak slowly. It happens to all of us, everyone's feeling the same. I can guarantee you, and I've certainly felt it in my assessment centre, once the day gets going, you do relax into it a lot more, and everyone's super friendly, super chatty. And obviously, like I said before, make use of the notes. Having notes in front of you certainly helps your nerves, because you're not having to then memorise everything. Well, it helped me at least. But Yeah.
Even with my long-term experience, I've got nerves. We have nerves. We're on this call. We have currently 423 people watching us right now. So yeah, you have nerves there, but it's about public speaking and things like that, where you learn to address what you can see in front of you. You're talking to the panel. You're talking to everybody on the call here. So there are nerves. Expect nerves, but don't be afraid by nerves. It's something to embrace.
We're only human. It's normal.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all people. So I've just got one tip that I got
go
given
on,
as well,
sorry.
which is really great, is before you go to answer a question, take a gulp of water, because your mind will calm down and focus on taking a drink rather than everything else that's going on around you. So maybe give that a go as well.
I need a bigger glass.
I
know. Right then, just one last quick fire, and then I'm going to turn to the grads. Question from Nick: do you prefer applicants from certain universities over others, i.e. Russell groups?
No. Okay. We are targeting a variety of different universities, so we are not favoriting anybody. We are completely inclusive, and we are looking for a variety of different individuals, no matter where you come from.
Wonderful. Thank you. Right then, it's Jack and B. We've just got 5 minutes left of the session, and I'm going to ask you why you chose Vodafone over other schemes, and what you've particularly enjoyed or felt has helped your personal development. So, shall I do a dibs or B?
Yeah, that's fine. So why Vodafone? I think I've actually got a couple of friends who've like done a placement year, or one of my like best friends is in the grad scheme in the year above. So I'd obviously known it as a company, but that when you're applying for jobs, there's so many companies that come up, it's quite hard to often differentiate. So I'd heard really, really positive things, and she'd said multiple times, she was like, I don't think I'm ever going to want to leave because I've been so spoiled by how because you get treated so well. So I think that was a massive factor as well. But yeah, I think what
you've enjoyed or what you felt has really helped with your own development.
Yeah, I think as I said earlier, I was working at a much smaller company just for a couple of months last year, and I think something that I've definitely noticed that is like completely invaluable about Vodafone is the exposure you get to such experienced and senior people so early on. Like I've been in some calls with some really senior people, and it's really interesting and inspiring to like hear them talk and even just watch them conduct a meeting. I think you pick up so much without even realizing on like little things like that, which is just amazing exposure. And I think being a grad, you can definitely use that as an excuse to always try and like pop 10 minutes in the diary with someone, and everyone's really open to that. So definitely make the most of that as well, in terms of just being like, really sorry, could you just run me through this? And everyone's always really willing to help, which I think is a real good thing.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Jack?
So why Vodafone? So as was mentioned earlier, I was on the industrial placement scheme. So I had an amazing year. Preferred it as a work environment way more than uni. I was really excited to come back once I'd been fortunately offered the grad position. So that's why I was on the grad scheme. But in terms of the industrial placement, as you know, I read about how as a business, how Vodafone is, as was mentioned earlier, they're not just stuck trying to be a telco, a telecommunications company. They want to become a tech company, and there's lots of innovation within the business. You look at areas like IoT, where they are the industry leader in putting SIM cards and things and connecting up, different devices across the network. And that's just a small example of the really innovative things that Vodafone do. And then in terms of your experience as an employee, you touched upon the salary, which is obviously very competitive, but generally the work life you get at Vodafone is really good. They've got a very great sort of wider benefits package, and their support in your mental well-being and your personal development is really strong as well. When you're expected to take time out of your day and your week to go and learn stuff outside of your immediate team, go and network with people, and that's really important. And then in terms of what I've enjoyed most about Vodafone, both in my year, my placement, and already in my grad scheme, is your teams will give you the guidance, but also like the ability to take responsibility on things, and you're not just someone who's supporting administrative tasks. You're able to express yourselves, your creativity, your innovation on things, get your voice heard. And by the end of my industrial placement year, for instance, I was actually perhaps leading on initiatives, and I can see myself being already a strong contributor to stuff at the moment as well. And that's not because of anything I've done necessarily. It's because there's that environment around you where you are treated as a member of the team and a valued member of the team, and your opinion is really, really, appreciated. So,
wonderful. Thank you so much. We're at the end of the session now. Ellie, is there anything that you'd like to share as just a final statement?
So we are really looking forward to hopefully seeing some of your applications. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us via youth recruitment, email. We're here to answer anything else, but I think we could have probably spent so much more time speaking to you all, but it'd be lovely to see some of your faces, hopefully in assessment centres.
Wonderful. Well, thank you here to you, the panel, for your insights, your expertise, such a wealth of knowledge. It's been wonderful to hear from you and for you to answer all of these questions. And thank you to everybody, all of you attendees who've come, and thank you for your time, your questions. Ricky, Vicky, Abdul, Johnny, thank you very much. It's goodbye from us for now. We will be sending everything via email to you, as I said at the beginning of the session, so don't worry about missing out on anything. And thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good luck in the future, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.